The organizational meeting of the Emerald Coast Utilities Authority of Tuesday, November 17th is hereby called to order. Ms. Campbell will offer the invocation and pledge, and we invite you to join her.
Lord, thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you for this opportunity to come together to do the business of the Emerald Coast Utility Authority. Help us to remember that this is the month to be thankful. We need to be thankful that the organization made it through 2020 with all of the things that we had to get through. The pandemic, the storms. Everyone came together in the spirit of Thanksgiving and got everything done together. And we need to be thankful for that. We need to be mindful that it takes us all working together to get to the end.
Well,
I pledge allegiance
to the flag
to the United States
States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Ms. Campbell. You have before you the agenda of today's meeting. Is there a motion for adoption of the agenda? Ms. Campbell?
I would like to add, are we doing we're doing the first meeting first, sorry, no,
Yeah, this is just the organizational meeting.
Madam Chairman, have the new board members been shown how to use the mics and the speaker things and vote and stuff? Yeah, we'll show you real quick.
Okay.
And then when you,
And on and off when you want to. And when you hit speak, that'll put you in line for the chair to recognize. Okay? Like I just closed. So if you want to speak your head, and then you'll fall wherever. There's nothing else for me to do. That's right. Hold it. No. And then just turn it off when you're done.
Thank you, Mr. Perkins. I assumed they had been briefed, so good. Now, is there a motion to adopt the agenda as submitted?
so moved.
It's been moved by Ms. Campbell. Mr. Perkins?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion? If not, please vote. And it passes 5-0. The new board is off to a good start. The next item is the swearing in of new board members, Mr. Larry Williams and Mr. Kevin Stevens, and I believe our attorney will handle that. So, Mr. Beasley? Sure. Okay. And if you two will go, do you want them down front with you, Mr. Beasley?
I think we should go to one time.
Sure.
Be stripped, so bring your strip with you, and we'll keep our safe distance. We take our mask off. Yeah, Ms. Williams, if you'll come on up and just stand adjacent, that way we can keep a safe distance and give you a copy of the oath. Okay, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I do solemnly swear or affirm that I will support, protect, and defend the Constitution and government of the United States and of the state of Florida. That I am duly qualified to hold office under the Constitution of the state. And that I will well and faithfully perform the duties of a board member. On which I am now about to enter, so help me God. Congratulations. Sign those and then I'll have you sign afterwards. Okay.
Well, congratulations to both of you. We now have two presentations. The first one is to Dr. Cedric Alexander, and this will be read by Ms. Campbell.
You want me to go down there and read it?
Oh, either do it from there and we'll have him come to the podium. Would that be appropriate? Dr. Alexander, if you'll come to the podium, please.
Okay, so this is, Dr. Alexander was appointed by Florida Governor Ron DeSantis to fill the ECUA's District 3 seat, which had been vacant since January 2019. Dr. Alexander graciously accepted the appointment and provided the citizens of District 3 with a voice on the ECUA board. Although his service on the board was for a brief time, Dr. Alexander's contributions were meaningful to the residents of Escambia County, always ensuring that his dedication were equitable and the best for the community. It is with great pleasure that we recognize Dr. Cedric L. Alexander this 17th day of November, 2020.
And Dr. Alexander, if you'll stay right there, I just wanted to say a little something too. This is kind of a historic day to have two turnovers, and I don't want you to go without knowing what an impact you had. We hardly knew you, but you had an impact out of the gate. On the very first meeting, as you will recall, we had all reviewed the resumes of executive directors, and we're ready to march forward, and you said, wait. We need a process that is more inclusive. We need a broader search, and let's look again. And we all thought, you're right. And so we did do that. And we looked for minority hires, and we did what I think was the right thing to do at your urging. We ultimately ended up with a white male, but it wasn't because we had not been inclusive. I think that led to what happened later when the board unanimously said we need to look at our hiring, we need to look at our workforce. Where do people fit on the pay scale? Is there mentoring? Are there role models for minorities who are at the lowest level of the pay scale to come forward? And I think that never would have happened had you not said, wait. And I truly appreciate that. Dr. Alexander, you lent us gravitas. How often do I hear another board member on NPR or in the network news speaking about a subject of national importance? But you did that, and I was pretty impressed, and I think the rest of us were. And we rubbed shoulders with you as if you were our equal and we were your equal. But you didn't condescend, even though you were something of a celebrity. You were one of five, which is what makes this board work. I want to tell you that your voice, your wisdom about government, after all, you wrote the book about it, will be missed. You filled a void that Mr. McCorvey left, but you left an indelible stamp on this board, so I thank you.
Very quickly, first of all, let me say it was, there's no greater honor, actually, than to ever serve the government. And I had the opportunity to do that both on the Republican and Democratic side of the House. Governor Mataki, and some years ago in New York, to President Obama. And, it's not. And being back home now in Pensacola, having an opportunity to serve in this capacity at the request of our governor. So I just think there's never a better opportunity than to allow ourselves to be part of our government when we're asked to the call for duty. And all those were calls for duty for me. But very quickly, let me say something to the board. It was just tremendously wonderful to work in each and every one of you. You were quite receptive. You were supportive. You're smart. I learned a lot from you all about a subject that probably most of us, until we get in it, don't really know a whole lot about. and to understand the importance and the value that it brings to this community. But also to be part of a process that brings in, I think, a very talented Mr. Bruce Woody, who is just, I think we all agree, who has just demonstrated himself in a way that we all feel proud of, that we got our fingerprints on him being here. So I want to thank all of you, and I also want to congratulate Mr. Stevens and Mr. Williams, both for winning your elections and doing so in a way that really that set a standard. You worked hard at it, and I watched from a distance, and you deserve to be here, and I'm proud that the both of you are here. And I just hope from my going out and you coming in, Mr. Williams, in District 3, and you, Mr. Stevens, that y'all carry on a great tradition that has been established here. God bless you, and God bless this country. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Don't be a stranger. The next recognition is of Dr. Larry Walker, and Dr. Walker's wife had a doctor's appointment, and he could not be here. I'm sure he's here in spirit, but I've asked Mr. Perkins to read the plaque to him.
Thank you, and I'm going to remain seated so I can speak into the mic and read the special recognition in honor of Dr. Larry Walker, ECUA board member, District 5 from 1988 to 2000, and from 2004 to 2020. The citizens of District 5 have chosen to elect Larry Walker as their ECUA board member throughout the past 3 decades. In total, Dr. Walker has proudly dedicated 28 years of service to the Emerald Coast Utilities Authority and the residents of Escambia County. Throughout his tenure as a board member from 1988 to 2000 and again from 2004 to 2020, Dr. Walker actively held numerous official positions, specifically board chairman during 1995 to 1999 and 2012 to 2013, and board vice chairman during 2006, 2007, 2010, 2014, 2019, and 2020. Dr. Walker also served as a member of the various ECUA Citizen Advisory Committees, repeatedly being chosen by his peers to be chairman or vice chairman of a particular committee. Dr. Walker made every effort to ensure his decisions were the best for the citizens of Escambia County, as well as ECUA. His immeasurable contributions and efforts throughout the community have helped provide the stepping stones for ECUA to become the outstanding organization it is today. Dr. Walker's historical knowledge of the ECUA is vast, and he always stands ready to share his memories of those historical moments. It is with great pleasure that we recognize Dr. Larry Walker this 17th day of November, 2020. I'm sure that staff will make sure that he gets this.
I'm sure they will. And I would like to say a little bit about Dr. Walker, too. I mean, after his long service. The Sunshine Law keeps us from getting to know each other very well. And Dr. Walker is a very private person as well. So, to serve this long and not know someone better would seem ironic for people out there. But I've learned many things from him and about him, and I thought I would share some. One is he's a man of letters. Sometimes he would come to board meetings with a huge tome. I remember one time he came with the book 100 Years of Solitude. I think it was the English translation, but I'm not sure. Another time he brought a history of the Gulf. He was a voracious reader. Many of you remember Rod Kendig, and when Rod was on his deathbed, Larry was the one who went to Rod to offer comfort, and Rod gave him part of his extensive library because he knew that Larry was quite a voracious reader. He had a strong moral compass. If you recall, Cell Phone Gate was part of the tarnishing of ECUA in the 1990s, where people abused ratepayers' money by using cell phones, which then were very expensive for personal use. Dr. Walker did not. There was a kickback scheme where board members went to prison because of kickbacks on purchase of garbage cans. His hands were clean. Dr. Walker is a man of great political courage. Never, not once, ever, did he consider the impact of a vote on his reelection. He thought first of the well-being of the ECUA and of the ratepayers. And there were some times that I would marvel. I would think, why are you taking that vote? It's going to be used against him. But he always did what he thought was right for the ECUA. As a politician, it's easy and safe to vote no on rate hikes, and yet he was always an advocate for sound fiscal policy and adequate reserves, putting ECUA above self. He warned about climate change, but he never grandstanded. Larry served as board chair, but I think being CAC chair meant more to him. He believed strongly in the role of citizen input in deliberations. He knew that we are not measured by the quantity of words that we speak, but the quality of what we say. He didn't speak long on issues, but when he spoke, we listened. He was a historian. We will miss that. He served with dignity and purpose, and I believe nothing better can be said of any elected official than that. Finally, when the book is written on the ECUA, a whole chapter will be devoted to the role of Dr. Larry Walker. Mr. Williams, you have very large shoes to fill. Thank you, Larry Walker. I hope you will get to watch this.
I think it's actually Mr. Stevens that'll be filling those shoes.
Oh, right.
I know what you meant.
Yeah.
But if I can briefly, you know, Dr. Walker and I were friends. He was a professor of mine at UWF way back in the late 80s. And his first campaign, I actually helped on his campaign, stood out waving signs. I think it was 88. And he won by just a few votes. And, you know, and I got on the boards. He kind of convinced me to run. ECA was having some difficulty, and I was freezing, working up in Chicago, and he convinced me to run. And I thought, you know, Pensacola doesn't sound too bad right now. It was 8 degrees when I talked to him, and I'm like, hadn't seen the sun in a couple of weeks, and so I'm so glad that he you know, talked to me about that and convinced me to run. And then I get on the board, and I find out that he and I are philosophically quite different, you know, and so we had a lot of different stances on issues and a lot of disagreements. But one thing that I can say is that he never ever disagreed disagreeably. You know, he was always professional and polite and considerate, and didn't take things personal. And you know, at the end of the day, whether I was on the losing side of a boat or he was on the losing side of a boat, you know, we were still able to be friends and respect and understand each other's positions. So I always admired that about him, and wish him well in whatever the next chapter is. But it was a pleasure serving with him.
Thank you, Mr. Perkins. Ms. Campbell.
Yeah, I remember when I first decided to run for ECUA, I reached out to every board member to see if I could talk to them and learn a little bit more about their district and what they felt were the issues of ECUA. And Larry spent a good 2.5 hours with me. And when I walked away from there, I felt like I knew a lot more about the ECUA than I ever would have known, because he knew everything. And he was so open to sharing with you. And he even shared some campaign tips with me about, you know, signs and how to do things, because I'd never run for a public office, so I didn't know. And he shared a bunch of little campaign tips with me, so I will never forget that as long as I live, how nice he was to someone just coming in, you know, wanting to take that position. And it's been a pleasure to, like Dale, we were often on opposite sides, but we were politely on opposite sides, and we always got along really well. I'm going to miss him a lot.
Thank you, Ms. Campbell. And to the two new board members, I would say you have just gotten a little taste of this board. Dale can make us laugh just when we need it, and Vicki is always thoughtful in her remarks and a caring person. We respect and like each other, and I'm eager to bring both of you into the fold. I think you will enjoy the process. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the organization of the board, and the first item is election of board chair, and so I will turn the gavel over to Mr. Woody.
You need an agenda?
At this point on our agenda, the organization of the, pardon me? I'm sorry, you had a question.
Agenda that we can get from Mr. Stevens for the organizational meeting. Here, he's got your one right here.
Okay, yeah, no problem. Agenda item number 7, organization of the board. At this point, under section 7A, we'll take nominations for the election of board chairman. This is a term at which currently is occupied by Ms. Benson. Do I have any nominations for this next year for board chairman?
Mr. Director, I just wanted to say initially off the bat that any of these positions, I'm perfectly capable of getting the things done that I need to do for my district and the rest of the county without a chairmanship of any sort. And so I don't want any of the positions. I want, others and the new people to have a chance at some of the leadership positions, because I feel like I'm pretty comfortable and able to do the things that I need to do without them. So I just want to let people know, don't be nominating me for stuff if there's other people that may want those positions. But I think, Ms. Benson has done a good job as chairman, and I think she would probably be willing to continue to serve. When I first ran for the board and I got elected, my very first meeting I became board chairman. That was a mistake, that was not the thing to do, and it's a job that really takes a little bit of experience and a little bit of leadership. And I think all the other positions a brand new person could do fine, but I think for the chairman, you ought to have maybe a year's experience, just see how meetings are run. I'm not saying y'all don't. I mean, you probably do, but I think that Ms. Benson would be a good chairman, and I would like to nominate her if she's willing to accept the nomination.
Any other nominations or a second for that nomination?
I wanted to second that nomination. I think during this year, which I want to forget as soon as it's over, 2020 has been very, very trying with all the storms, the COVID, everything that we've had. Ms. Benson has done an absolutely outstanding job as chairman of this board, and I would like to second that nomination.
Mr. Attorney, I think, as a point of order, I don't think nominations require a second, do they? We can second, but I think to nominate somebody, you just need one nomination.
I think you're technically correct. I don't know that it hurts anything to second it. It essentially counts as a vote for the nomination. Yeah. So I think it's fine to do it the way we've done it. And then they would bring it to a vote if there are no other nominations.
Are there any further nominations? Before you, there are some yellow ballot sheets. For this position, we request that you fill out that ballot sheet. You would place the name of whom you are voting for and sign as your vote for that person. I'll come collect those in a moment.
I think our attorney would advise you that these are not secret ballots. That
They're not secret.
This
It's
is,
the method of voting.
yeah, just,
Yeah.
everything is in the sunshine here.
Can we move unanimous? If there's no other people, can we just say, is it move unanimous consent or something? We don't have to. We can do the sheets if we need to.
Okay, so you have a unanimous vote for Ms. Benson as the chair.
Okay.
Okay.
The ballots received, it is unanimous in favor of Lois Benson retaining her position as chairman for this next year.
Thank you so much for your confidence. I hope I will do well. I hope we have no more technological glitches in the meetings. So, anyway, the next item is election of board vice chair, and I think we should open it for nominations. Mr. Perkins?
I would like to see if either of our new members would be interested in being vice chair. I think that's a good learning position, and I think it's a position where you're able to have some influence. So I would be hopeful that one of them might be interested.
I'd be interested.
Mr. Stevens?
Yes.
So one of the things for protocol, you've been learning Robert's rules, you always punch your button, wait to be recognized, and then,
Gotcha.
and if you get to take over as chair, you see, you'll do this, so.
I'll
And now you
nominate
recognize.
Mr. Stevens.
Understood. So I'd be interested in
Okay.
applying for the position, the vice chair.
Mr. Williams?
I would also be interested in that position.
Okay. So, we can either have a motion and a second, and then, we could put both names in the hat. How would you like to proceed, Mr. Perkins?
Well, can I nominate both of them?
Sure.
Sure, I'd like to nominate both of them for
Okay.
vice chair.
Are there any further nominations? Okay, then in that case, we will fill out the ballots for vice chair. Do we have a,
And I just want to say, I hope neither of you get your feelings hurt. You know, we got to pick one of you, you know. We're
right?
The vice chair ballot is green, by the way.
That's the CAC chair.
Oh, I apologize. There is,
Just use one of the yellow ones.
Yeah, use the other yellow one. We won't need it again.
Just right vice at the top.
it's 3 in favor of Mr. Stevens and 2 for Mr. Williams.
So, Mr. Stevens, congratulations. You will be the vice chair. The next is chair of the Citizens Advisory Committee, and I will open the floor for nominations. Mr. Perkins?
I would like to nominate Ms. Campbell for the Citizens Advisory Committee chair.
Ms. Campbell has been nominated.
To serve the Citizens Advisory again.
I didn't hear you.
I said I would be willing to serve Citizen Advisory Council chair again.
And Ms. Campbell, you do a wonderful job with that committee, which is much more complicated than running the board because there are a number of people. So I would affirm your nomination. Are there any further nominations? If not, we can just, do we want to vote on the screen? Or just move that the nominations be closed?
There is a green ballot slip if you would like to fill that
Well,
out
okay,
for
we
the
can do
record.
that.
Get your exercise today.
Thank you, ma'am.
5 votes cast in favor of Ms. Campbell for Chair of CAC.
Congratulations, Ms. Campbell. And now we open the nominations for Vice Chair.
Oh, Dale's already got his light on.
Ms. Campbell? Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Perkins?
Mr. Perkins.
I'd like to nominate Mr. Williams for Committee Vice Chair.
Mr. Perkins nominates Mr. Williams. Is there further discussion or further nominations? If not, we're voting on Vice Chair of the CAC. Yeah, we can use the green one and just write Vice on it. Thank you.
Unanimous, 5 votes for Mr. Larry Williams for Vice Chair of the CAC.
Congratulations, Mr. Williams. Okay, the next issue is, or the next item is the appointment of and approval of members of the Citizens Advisory Committee. There are 2 different stages to this. One is each board member can name 1 person to the CAC, and then we approve 2 members at large. Let's begin with each of us telling who the person is that we wish to serve on our behalf. We'll just start with you, Ms. Campbell.
I would like to appoint Mr. Chuck Kimball to serve for District 1.
Thank you. And we've seen his resume, and he has served with us, so thank you. Mr. Williams.
Yes, Madam Chair, I'd like to nominate Louis Trent Brown III.
Okay. He is named Mr. Brown, and we have received that resume as well. I have asked Dean Kirshner to serve in our district, and he has agreed, and his resume has been circulated as well. Mr. Stevens.
Yes, I'd like to nominate David Gaines to serve as my CAC District 5 member.
Thank you, Mr. Stevens. And Mr. Perkins.
I'd like to renominate Louise Ritz, District 4.
Okay, and I would accept a motion to accept the nomination of the members appointed by the board.
I move approval of the CAC nominations.
Thank you. It's been moved. Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded. Oh, Mr. Stevens, I see your light is on. Did you wish to speak? Okay. Okay, good. Thank you. Then you may vote now on the appointment of the nominees by the board. By the way, these little circles are a little finicky. Make sure that the light is on by the yes or no. Sometimes they don't cooperate. And it passes 5-0. The next item is the appointment of the 2 at-large members. And Mr. Beasley, I wanted to recognize you on that.
Thank you, and previously my light was on just to confirm that we have received applications and compliant resumes for all of the nominated seats that were just voted in. I think you mentioned that. We've also received applications and compliant resumes for the additional at-large nomination or recommendations. And then I'm not sure if we want to list those at this time.
Okay.
Would you?
Okay. Mr. Woody, do you have the complete list? I have Imelda Cromartie, I have Ashley McDonald, I have, I have Ms. Schneider, Ms. Michelle Snyder.
That is correct. That's the three that I have.
So we have Imelda, Ashley, and Michelle.
Yes.
Yes, and I have a copy of the resumes for each, which are compliant. And I have them here if anyone needs a copy of the resume.
We have them.
Well, okay, now, I have a question. Right off
You're
the bat.
recognized.
I'm assuming that all of our appointees live in our districts.
That's not necessary.
But mine does.
I'm just assuming that because we
Oh.
can only have two serving from one district, and I'm thinking that we
Okay.
may have three, and we can't have that, so
Right.
I want to point that out.
Good
So-
point, thank you.
Okay, so Lewis is in 3. My guy is in District 1. Your guy is in District 2, yours is in 5, and yours, okay. I just want to make sure because I'm looking and I know right off the bat that Ashley and Michelle are both in 3.
Right.
Okay, so they couldn't both be,
Do we know what district Ms. Cromartie lives in?
She lives in District 4.
Okay. All right.
I know she doesn't live in. She does not live in District 3.
Okay.
That's the main thing we need to know. whether or
Okay.
not she lives in 3. Okay.
all right.
So Ms. Cromartie's address is 8004 Heirloom Drive.
I-
I think that's 4. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure that's in my district.
That's in your district, okay.
Yeah.
I know it's not in mine. And I do believe it is in yours because it is 32514.
Yeah, it is.
Right, that is
Right.
yours, okay.
What is the spelling of Imelda's last name?
Cromartie, Cromartie.
Okay,
So we have 3 applicants for 2 seats. 2 of the applicants are in the same district,
Right.
meaning Ms. McDonald and Ms. Schneider are in the same district.
right. So, we can vote for 2 people, but I would advise you not to vote for both Ms. Schneider and Ms. McDonald, because that would cause a problem, and then we would have to do
Can we
that
take
one.
them one at a time? It might make it simpler.
I think we can
Okay.
do this, I think that's okay. We can have a second ballot if we end up with that problem. Mr. Beasley?
Well, I think we have to nominate them, don't we? I'd like to nominate Ms. Schneider.
Okay.
I mean, I think we have to nominate them.
No, your seats that you nominate, your nominations have already occurred and those have already
Right.
been placed. These are applicants for the at-large seats. They do not get nominated.
They
They're
don't
now
get-
just,
don't
because
have
they
to be
applied, they're at issue now.
Okay.
And now there's a vote between the 3.
Okay. Ms. Campbell, did you?
Oh, no, I'm sorry, I didn't.
That's okay.
So each ballot will have 2 names on it.
Well, can we, not for this time, but in the future, can we look at our code? Because I would be worried that we had a situation like this, like let's say we had 3 applicants and the board didn't like any of them, but they can still get on without a nomination. I mean, I think that's something we need to look at in the future and see.
Okay, I'll take a look at it. Yes, Mr. Perkins?
I'm prepared to vote this
Okay.
time, but I do think it's a policy thing we need to look at.
Yeah. No, that has come up in the past, so I'm glad you reminded us of that. It's been a while since that came up.
Do at one time on, but
Uh-huh, right,
probably better when it's every day.
right.
You got a lot of people wanting to serve in your district.
Yes, yes, which is a good thing.
It is a good thing.
I had a really good board member for CAC. She was on here. How long was she on? I think you're the one nominated. Debbie.
From the time, I named her in 2004 when I came on, and she left, a couple of years ago, yeah.
So she served that long.
Yeah.
She was great.
Mr. Chairman? The results of the ballot are that Ms. Imelda Cromartie and Ms. Fuchelle Schneider will serve as at-large candidates for the AC. For the
Thank
CAC.
you. Now, I was handed a pink slip, and it apparently is for this organizational meeting, and we do not actually have an open forum. Did you wish to address us in open forum, Ms. Schneider? Okay. Okay, well, thank you. You did it without it, so, okay. Okay, I see nothing else on the agenda, so the organizational meeting is,
Mr. Chairman?
yes?
There is the adoption of General Resolution 20-68, item number 5. I think
There
we-
certainly is. A general resolution authorizing the adoption of the proposed meeting schedule, of course, of the regular board meeting dates for 2021. You have those before you on page 5. Is there a motion regarding these meeting dates? Mr. Perkins?
Well, I'm prepared to make a motion for this, but I just want the new board members to know that we have looked at meeting times a lot and discussed meeting times, and I'm open, if we want to go later. I can't really go much earlier because I can't get off work in time, but if we want to go later, I'm open to that. Now, some people have said, well, you need to have meetings later in the evening so the public can attend, but we have found out when we've had them later that we see no increase in attendance, and that some elderly people complain because they don't like to drive when it's dark, and so it's kind of a darned if you do, if you're darned if you don't. But I just want everybody to know I'm open on the time if there's anything that's more convenient for people, or that that you'd rather have. But as far as the time of the meetings, I'll go ahead and make a motion to adopt the resolution.
It's been moved. Ms. Campbell?
I didn't see times on here. They're not, are they? It's just the days right now? Oh, it does say 3 p.m.
Yeah,
Okay.
3 p.m.
Tuesdays at 3.
I'll second.
It's been moved and second. Any further discussion? Mr. Williams?
Yes, ma'am. Just for the record, I have constituents who say they want to be able to attend meetings after work, and I don't think in the winter months that would be a good time to change, but perhaps during summer months when days are longer, if we gave people an opportunity for a 5 p.m. meeting to see, once again, whether or not they really are interested in attending, that would be my consideration that
Okay.
the board look at.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Ms. Campbell?
Thank you, Mr. Williams. I am very open to doing that if we could put it in the form of a motion, maybe when the time changes, are you talking about? I'm fine with that. I've been on the board for a couple of terms, and it is better if you can meet after hours, I think. So, we could try it and see how it goes. I'm all open for it.
Okay. Mr. Stevens?
Yes, I just want to concur with what Mr. Williams said. Is I've had several individuals in my district reach out to me about a later meeting time. So, certainly adopting this now with the ability to be able to modify it in the future with a later meeting time, I would certainly like to address it at a later time. And
Okay. Ms. Campbell?
Yeah, it stays daylight till almost 8 o'clock in the daylight in the summertime, so I think it'd be a good time to try it.
Yeah,
Mr. Perkins?
I'm certainly open to that, and that might be a good way to try it to start off, is to have our meetings. Now, I hope it doesn't confuse people, but we'll publicize all the meetings and stuff, but to have our meetings at 5 during daylight savings time and at 3 during winter hours. So if the board wants to go that route, I'll withdraw my motion, and then that way, we'll be able to do other things if you prefer. So I'll withdraw the motion as long as it's okay with the second.
It's fine with me, Dale. If you want to restate a motion, I'm fine with that too.
Let me inject one other piece into that, and that is the bridge. That is complicating traffic so much, and this is in one of the areas where it is. I think it probably makes sense to look at this when the time changes again and make sure there's not the bridge issue. I think we can ask our executive director to put it on an agenda, and this is probably something appropriate for the CAC to consider as well.
Exactly.
So I would just suggest that we, right now, adopt this schedule with the understanding we're going to bring it up after March.
I agree with that because I would like to get the CAC's input before I change their meeting time.
So, Mr. Perkins?
Yeah, I'm open to doing it that way. I'm really pretty flexible on this issue. I don't have strong feelings either way. Just, want to be responsive to our citizens and our ratepayers and to our new board members. I want them to feel like they, have a voice, and I don't want us to feel like we're running over anybody or anything like that. So either way is fine with me. But as far as the citizen committee goes, the chairman can set that agenda or time, and that committee can set their agenda or times without the board's,
Sure.
approval. So either way, but whatever motion y'all want, if y'all want to go with go ahead and adopt this and be willing to change it, then that's fine with me. So either way.
Mr. Beasley?
I was just I think the pathway is sorting itself through. I think there's a motion and a second. You would need to vote on that motion. But I think the alternative suggested was that the board direct the executive director to set it on the agenda for the time change meeting, which would be the March meeting, whenever that was, as a matter of an item on that agenda. So that then it would be a reminder for all of us at that meeting to go ahead and modify this calendar to the new time zone.
And I believe Mr. Perkins withdrew his
Yes,
motions.
I'll remake the primary motion that we adopt this schedule and resolution, and then we'll figure out how to revisit it in the future.
Okay. It's been moved. Is there a second? I see no more lights, so let's vote. And it passes 5-0. Already, the new board members have made their imprint on our board. As I recall, Mr. Perkins, Ms. Campbell, and I have all advocated in the past for later meetings, but for various reasons it didn't happen. So I think there's going to be a new tone. Yes. Okay. Have I missed anything else, Mr. Wood?
No, ma'am.
We have voted on the board calendar. Ms. Campbell, your light is on. Did you have something? No? Okay. Okay, if there's nothing more, we are adjourned.